Hello, I'm Stephen Jaworski, and I will be refuting Amy's claim. Now, let's recall what Amy's claim was, which is income inequality has a negative effect on the economy. Her supporting claims was one, that a strong middle class directly correlates to a strong economy, and two, that current policies benefit the wealthy, but do not help grow the economy in the long term. Now, my claim is that income equality does not have an effect on the economy. And my secondary claims are that a strong middle class is not the only reason for a good, strong economy, and that current policies do not always benefit the wealthy. Now, for the first one, a strong middle class directly correlates to the economy, to a strong economy. This is not true because many wealthy people have helped the economy tremendously. One such person is Bill Gates. He founded the corporation Microsoft, which we all know and heard of. And now, imagine if he didn't create Microsoft. And where would all the people working for Microsoft, from the maintenance workers to the managers and the office workers, find the jobs? All 100,500 people would be out of jobs and not able to have an income to contribute to the economy. Also, if Bill Gates did not create Microsoft, then what would happen to all the companies that were made because of Microsoft? Such as all the computer manufacturing companies, the phone companies, and all internet-based resources and retailers go. These companies would most likely not have been made, and all of the jobs that they would be able to provide if they were made would not be there. Therefore, more people would be out of jobs and less income for the economy to grow. Since Bill Gates founded Microsoft, a wealthy person has created an indescribable amount of wealth in return for founding the company. So, all in all, the middle class is not what really supports a strong economy. A strong economy is supported by entrepreneurs like Bill Gates and innovation such as Microsoft. This can be seen in Professor von Prague's statement. The successful implementation initiated by entrepreneurs of new ideas gives rise to the market stimulation and economic progress of the nation. Ms. von Prague is a professor at the University of Amsterdam's Department for Business and Economics. Now for my refutation of her second secondary claim. The wealthy are not always benefited by government policies. Many of these policies regulate and constrain many entrepreneurs, who wealthy are mostly comprised of, from moving forward in the market and creating more technologies and innovations. Most of the government's regulations and policies and laws are trying to move the wealth in the economy around to try and close the economic gap, and as a result, policies are harming the economy by forcing people to pay for others' mishaps and non-well-being. One such example is the new Affordable Care Act, which is to allow everyone to have the ability to have healthcare at reasonable costs. This is good. However, the new law is stating that everyone that is paying for the healthcare is also paying for others that do not necessarily need this healthcare. So the wealthy are not benefiting by the policy, nor are the middle class or any other people. And this will also limit the economic growth in the long term. Now, the taxes the government collects from the populace are decreasing because people have less money to pay for things, have less money because they are paying for things they don't necessarily need, such as healthcare from the Affordable Care Act, which in return reduces the amount of money that is in circulation in the economy. And last, Amy also suggests that with great wealth comes the ability to influence politics. This may be controversial, but it has near nothing to do with the claim that she stated earlier, so it can be taken into a completely different argument. Thank you.
All right, I think you labeled things pretty clearly. On the first point, denial of the importance of the middle class, I don't know that that's really the point that you're making. I think the point that you're making here is that the inequities in between the middle class and the wealthy, or the inequities between the wealthy and everybody else, don't really have harm on the economy. They actually produce a benefit to the economy. So I'm not sure that you're minimizing the importance of the middle class on this particular argument, as much as you are showing that that the primary driver of economic opportunity is, like you said, entrepreneurship and creativity. That in fact, that's innovation is the thing that is the strongest, has the strongest influence on the economy. And I think you've got a very good example here. And I think the example works pretty well. I mean, Bill Gates is the wealthiest man in the world, and the contributions he's made do have a significant impact on the economy in a lot of ways. I mean, you're just talking about Microsoft employment itself, but of course there's all kinds of companies that have succeeded because of the technologies that Microsoft explored and advanced. So I think that you've got a good argument on that particular point. The quote from Van Praagh, I think, is another good illustration of this concept. So I don't know that it really is denying the issue of the middle class, but it's making a different argument, and I think you could be clearer in expressing that argument. On the second point, the issue about the government and how they're spending money, and whether or not there's a transfer in resources from rich to poor. That's an okay argument to make. I do think that you have another potential argument here that suggests that there is a barrier here to people's success being created by a tax system that favors the wealthy, or what the advocate would say favors the wealthy. The other argument that occurs to me on this that might have been worth making is the notion that the vast majority of government resources do in fact come from the wealthy and not from other parts of the economy. I forget what it is, but it's some ridiculous figure about what percentage of tax revenues come from people in the higher income brackets. It's like 90% of the tax returns that we spend come from, the top 10% of the economy. So when they talk about the richest people, they also pay the most, that sort of thing. And so I think that there's a good argument to be made there that might have strengthened that particular point. I got to thank all of you for your patience sticking around so we could finish these tonight.
Nobody left.
Well, there are a few people left here. Let me see.